Hi guys, it's Abby, and this is a video on natal Venus retrograde. And I'm going to be doing this video uncut just because it's like really irritating to have to edit videos. I don't know if you guys ever make them and edit them. But I randomly like sneeze or just start rambling about something or like pick up my phone and forget I'm doing a video. And that's why I have to do edits, and I also just like to make them more concise, but that's a pain. So I'd rather do more videos for you guys and put out more videos and edit less. So to start with natal Venus retrograde, so I didn't actually mention this in my original Venus video, and that was just an oversight of mine. But I didn't plan on doing a specific series or a specific section in each video for Venus retrograde, just because it's not as common as Mercury retrograde, which I felt needed addressing in each video. So it's apparently only 7 to 8% of the population. I actually had to look that up. I didn't even know. But that's because Venus is only retrograde, I think it's once for 40 days maybe every 2 years or year and a half. I really should know this. But anyway, actually, while I'm doing this video for you guys, I'm going to just go onto my blog real quick. And I did a blog entry on Venus retrograde a few weeks back. So I will link it below. It's called Venus in the Shadow, and my blog is on my website. It's just called abbyharmony.com or .net. It goes to the same place. Ooh. So if you can see, it says Venus in the Shadow, and yeah, I'll just put a link so you guys don't have to. So basically, it's going, once every 18 months. I put it in my blog. So it's going to be retrograde from 7/25 to 9/6, so July 25th to September 6th. So keep that in mind, people with Venus retrograde in your natal chart, because you tend to do well during the retrograde periods, unlike the rest of us who fall apart. So, again, this is why I have to edit things, because I just randomly have to drink coffee, to get through the day. So if you have this natally, you are dealing with a perceived sort of lack of love or self-worth in your childhood, because that's what a retrograde is really. Yes, it means that the planet was like going backwards in the sky on its orbit from our earthly standpoint when you were born, but it's more than that. It just means like it's something that you perceive differently when you're growing up. And for the outer planets, Jupiter through Pluto, but also Chiron, they are retrograde pretty much half the year, so 50% of the population has that natally. But for the inner planets, it's actually, I think, even more vital to know, because like if you have Mercury retrograde, you thought you had some sort of communication issue growing up. You somehow either couldn't communicate what you were trying to say, or you felt like people weren't really hearing you or listening to you. So with Venus, you're dealing with an insecurity from an early age having to do with self-worth, love, ability to love or to be loved, and also as you get a little bit older and having to do with self-worth, your ability to generate income. So money, how much you feel you're worth, how much you feel like you can make, etc. So with retrogrades, usually the first half of the life you're dealing with the insecurity, and the second half of your life you're able to express it. Usually a transit by an outer planet to your retrograde planet will sort of unlock it, so to speak. So you have insecurities about love and self-worth. And it's really important for people with natal Venus retrograde to not look for validation outside of them, but to seek it from within, because you more than anyone are going to be looking for your happiness outside of yourself. So you need to make it an inner journey. People with Venus retrograde natally take love and relationships very seriously. They don't go into them lightly, so you may take some time before you actually are in a relationship. love, money, and your self-value can actually be confused. So you might equate your self-worth with how much you make, or you might equate your self-love with how much other people love you. And your idea of women's roles is very unique. It might just be confusing to you because you might have had your mother tell you one thing about a woman's role, but then she acted a different way, or your parents might have disagreed about a woman's role. So you kind of have confusion about that. And for people who are feminine, so women, but more like people who equate themselves with feminine roles, are going to sort of have confusion about what that is if you have it Venus retrograde. And if you're masculine, so you are actually looking for someone that displays your Venus sign, like you're looking for feminine qualities to balance out your masculinity, you're going to be maybe a little bit confused about what you're looking for. So, I'm going to do them briefly through the signs. So, fire signs, you have issues with self-esteem if you have Venus retrograde in your natal chart. So for Aries, that's going to be like a defensive-ness. Venus and Aries. These are all Venus in, by the way. Venus in these signs, not just sun signs. Okay. So with Aries, there's going to be a high level of defensiveness. With Leo, there's going to be a strong need for validation from another person. And with Sag, there's going to be sort of a commitment issues, or possibly an excess. So an excess of love connections. So that is kind of a commitment issue, but also excess maybe of like spending, because that's material stuff. So I got my pencil in my hand. And okay. So air signs. Air signs are going to have a detached sort of way when it comes to their feelings and expressing love, and also like a preoccupation with intellectualism, which for air signs isn't that big of a stretch. But so Gemini is going to have issues socializing and communicating, and they may feel that if communication is cut off, that means love is cut off. If you have Venus in Libra, it's sort of an overanalysis perhaps of the relationship, and like severe indecision. So for Libra, that's saying something, right? Aquarius, it's going to be like severe bucking of convention. So these are all things that sort of help to push people away in order to save the self from rejection, because the self feels that it's not worthy of love, or somehow secretly feels that it's not good enough to be in a loving relationship. Earth signs are having a preoccupation with materialism when they have Venus retrograde. So for Taurus, that means just straight up materialism, but also a focus on sensuality as opposed to love. Virgo, that would be attention to details in the relationship, possibly scrutiny, and also a feeling like service is love. So you'd be extra in a like sort of submissiveness, but also like just very much servitude. And for Capricorn, it would be extra focus on status. So that would kind of be something to protect themselves again from the inability to be loved, perceived inability to be loved. Water signs are going to be dealing with hypersensitivity. So for Cancer, that means extra neediness. For Scorpio, that would be an obsession with privacy. And for Pisces, that could mean escapism, because they just can't deal. So, like idealism in relationships and eventual escapism when it doesn't live up to the ideal. So these are like the negative ways that Venus retrograde could be dealt with. And again, this is like in the earlier portion of one's life, because you're learning about and sort of having to deal with the lack you felt when you were growing up. And later in life, you'll be able to fully express them. And the good thing about the retrograde planets is that when you finally do express them, it's a really fully individual and unique expression of who you are and what you believe. It's not something that you're spouting out because your parents taught you or because society taught you. It's really something you've had to sort of internally review and come to terms with as far as what you believe. So for Venus, that means you're going to have a really strong sense of self-worth, and that can equate to how much you earn. So you might be able to earn way more in the second part of your life, which is good. And as far as love goes, you would be way better able to commit yourself and be fully yourself in a relationship with someone else a bit later on. So that's the planets in retrograde. I'm sorry, that's Venus in retrograde. I'm getting distracted. This is something I would normally edit out. And I'm actually going to be doing another video, or maybe two, on the upcoming horoscopes, because that's something I do on my blog, but I don't normally do videos on that. I just normally do videos on natal placements. And I'm going to be doing a video possibly on the numerology changes for July, because that's coming up, and it's also something on my blog, but I'd love to share it with you guys on YouTube. So thanks for watching. If you guys have any more questions about Venus retrograde, please leave them and I will do my best to answer them. And thank you for your comments. Thank you for subscribing. You guys are great. And if you have any other ideas about videos you want done, just leave them in the comment section. Thank you. Bye.